Welcome friends to Max Q Barbecue. My name is Craig and today we're going to do some St. Louis style ribs. We have today a pack of Members Mark, which is Sam's Club's brand, pork spare ribs. And in today's video, we're going to trim these up St. Louis style and use a couple of different rubs. One rub we're going to be using is one of our family favorites, which is Famous Dave's rib rub. And the other one is a rub that a friend of ours brought us from Pittsburgh called Rub My Butt, Kansas City rub. So we'll try these two rubs today and let you know how it turns out.
So fun fact, there's 4 different styles of pork ribs. You got your country style, you got your baby back, you got your spare ribs, and St. Louis style ribs. Of course, we live in St. Louis, so we've embraced the St. Louis style ribs, which are our favorite anyway. The ribs are cut in a particular way, which Craig will show you here soon. And it's really been, the ribs have been formalized by the USDA and their own category in barbecue competitions. So come on to St. Louis, it's almost Red October, where we're gonna get some great Cardinals baseball and lots of St. Louis style ribs.
We have our ribs unpacked and out of the wrapper and out on our cutting board. We have it turned up, rib side up, and one of the first things that we're gonna do in prepping our ribs is remove the silver skin. So to remove the silver skin, we loosen it up by inserting our finger underneath the silver skin and then slowly just pulling it away from the bones. However, you might find it a little bit easier to take a little paper towel and wrap it to pull it. Give you a little bit of traction on it. Makes it a little easier to pull that off. The next thing we're gonna do is take off this flap. We do that by just lifting it up and then cutting along the back of the ribs until we get the flap completely removed. The next step is to square up the ends of the ribs. Take your ribs and kind of feel along and find where that last bone is. And find you a good spot between the last bone and the next bone. And then you just take your knife and cut straight across. Next, we flip our ribs around and do the same thing on the other end. Feeling for that first bone, reaching down, cutting straight across. The final step is trimming off the rib tips. What we'll do is we'll pick a nice square line on this side and we'll cut straight across. Remove the rib tips. And that's what gives us our St. Louis style ribs. Now we're ready to apply our rubs. First, I'm going to start with Famous Dave's. But before I do, I'm going to take a little dab of some yellow mustard and I'm going to smear that over the surface of the ribs. The yellow mustard acts as a binder to help hold the rub to the ribs. The yellow mustard doesn't impart any flavor, but it does make a nice binder to hold the rub to the rib surface. And then we'll flip it over, do the other side. We have our smear on the second set of ribs, and we transferred our rub over to a shaker bottle to make it a little bit easier to apply. Our friend Brenda Loughton brought this rub from Pittsburgh on her trip to visit us last month. She knows how much we like to try different flavors and different barbecue styles. Our ribs are ready for the smoker. It's been about 20 minutes since we started our fire, and our pit temperature is on the main grill between 225 and 250 and around 260 on the upper grill. So the pit's ready. Let's get those St. Louis style ribs on the grill. We'll start with our Famous Dave's rub. We're going to go bone down, put them towards the back. And we're going to take our Rub My Butt, Kansas City rub, put those towards the front. We have a water tray in here to help keep it moist. And now we just close it up and let the fire do its work. The ribs have been on the pit for about 2 hours now, so it's time to start spritzing them. I have here with me a mixture of 50% apple cider vinegar and water, which we're going to use for our spritz. Let's take that look. Woo, boy, they look pretty. So we'll start up here on our rib tips and pieces that we cut off that we're going to make into smaller chunks for appetizers. And down here, we have our main course, our ribs. Three hours have passed since we put the ribs on the smoker. Now it's the time to take the ribs off and wrap them in aluminum foil so that they will tenderize. So we're going to go ahead and start with our ribs here on the bottom. Take this rack off, nice and flexible. Lay it on some aluminum foil. Spritz it down with our apple cider vinegar. Fold it up. And then we'll put them back on the tip. Now that we have our ribs wrapped, we're going to close it back up and let it cook on the smoker for another 2 hours. It's 4 hours since we put the ribs on the pit, and they've now come up to temperature and are ready to pull off and glaze with our sauce. So we're going to take them off, bring them inside, remove the aluminum foil, paint them down with some barbecue sauce, and then leave them in the oven until we're ready to serve in about 20 minutes. Well, friends, it's time to serve. Our ribs are done. They've been coated and glazed with a layer of barbecue sauce and allowed to rest for 30 minutes. And here's our beautiful spread today. We've got Uncle Richard's mac and cheese, our Hawaiian rolls, our Brussels sprouts, carrots, and squash. And we have some salad and some apples and some chips. Well, without further ado, let's put these ribs, get these ribs carved up and get them served.